From across the comic book community multiverse, the Comic-Con podcast begins now with your hosts, Justin, aka Nemesis Prime. If you give them the title of influencer, then that's giving them more power, right? That's how it is. Like, I'm a nobody. Listen, I'm a nobody. Zack, aka the Manimal.
We talked about it for a full, I believe, 7 to 8 minutes on an hour-long normal podcast for a show. And you would have thought we set their house on fire with the backlash. So,
hello and welcome back to the Comic-Con podcast, season 3, episode 16. Recording this on the good old 420. I'm not high. I'm just acting a little strange. There's some great stuff to talk about later on. So, it's your boy Nemesis Prime, as you know, and my man Milton the Manimal.
also not high.
Also not high.
Also not high.
We're not partakers in the reefer.
But no judgment. I mean, do you?
It's cool.
But
would have
if
been
you
cool
listen to
though.
this, it's actually the day after 420. So if you're still high, fuck, dude.
Would have been a cool show though if we actually were those types of people that we could have gotten really messed up and like done this show.
Well, we are the kind of people who get drunk, so we should do one where we just get super blasted.
I know we've been talking about that for such a long time.
Summer. It's going to be a summertime episode.
Yeah,
We'll
absolutely. Maybe we'll have to do that for like Terrificon. Like I'll have to just record at Mohegan Sun, and you'll just have to be back here and just be blasted, just so you can like edit it after the show's over.
Yeah, or I'll get blasted with you.
Or you're gonna come. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I know you keep saying that. But anyway, people, welcome back. Of course, after last week's excellent episode. So much for all the people that gave us messages and everything. Appreciate that. We're getting it right into the show this week. So let's start, of course, with our community stuff. We always like hearing from the community. You as you all know, you can hit us up on our Instagram at the Comic-Con podcast, Milton the Manimal or Nemesis Prime on Instagram with some messages to give us some ideas to talk about, some articles, whatever, hate mail, or the Comic-Con podcast at gmail.com, where you can find us as well over there. So this one's coming from our buddy Hard Knocks Collectibles. He's like, guys, interested to hear on your thoughts on the new team for Hulk and Blade ongoing coming up. Just a question for some filler. Keep doing what you're doing, fellas. You still legends in my eyes.
Aww.
Thank you so much, man. We are legends. We don't have to put shirts about it, but we are legends.
It's a good one because we've talked a lot about the Hulk, right? We've talked a lot about the Hulk creative team, how it started off with Donny Cates, and even so much so that we talked about like the Thor switch with Al Ewing and or Venom, I'm sorry, the Venom switch with Donny Cates, Al Ewing switching to Venom and Thor, or God damn it, in Hulk. I apologize.
Hulk was just not a book that I liked.
I'll
go right into it. Yeah, I tried it. We've talked about it. I tried it, and I just couldn't get into the whole Hulk inside of a Hulk inside of a Hulk with Bruce Banner. Like it was just
the spaceship.
Yeah, it was just stupid. So I know you're glad it's over, right? Because you probably are running it until.
I think we got like 1 or 2 more issues until it finishes, and I think it's good. I think obviously, first off, beside the storyline and whatnot, the spaceship Hulk, and whether you like it or not, nothing kills a title than like the main writer who's leading it leaving, right? So for whatever reasons, Donny Cates stopped doing it, and he had his mission, or he had his goal in mind, and then a new guy comes in. It's never going to be that great, like finishing it off, but So, yeah, I'm actually trying to decide if I'm going to read the Hulk moving forward, because I'm not like a massive Hulk fan. I picked up the Hulk run by Al Ewing, the Immortal Hulk, just because it was something different, and I actually think I picked it up like 4 or 5 issues in. So people are already like, oh, man, it's really good. And it had like the horror type theme to it. So I was interested. And then I read that for so long when they did the new Hulk run. I was like, yeah, I'll pick up Hulk again. I'll have to decide, man.
Well, let's talk about it. So you got the increases, the new writer, it's Philip Kennedy Johnson, and the artist is Nick Klein. So if you don't know, Philip did some stuff, and he's doing a lot of stuff at Marvel. He did the Alien series. He did some Red Sonja stuff. For DC, he's did the previous like Action Comics run prior to like the dawn of DC. He's also done some, he did like the Carnage run for a little bit, Extreme Carnage as well. So he's done a lot of stuff. So he's not like a no name person. He's even done 007 over at I guess what's 007 at? Like Dynamite?
Maybe.
Dynamite.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
So I mean, they, the article that we found on this one talks about how, of course, it's going to be a little bit different, right? Without a doubt. Like we're gonna, we're definitely not seeing a Hulk version from the previous. You got that article up, right?
Yeah, so basically, they're kind of honestly going back to basics. You're gonna have it's really focusing on what scares the Hulk. It's something he really fears. You're gonna have some new appearances. So for all you individuals who out there who are chasing those new appearances, this is what it tells you. Launching in June 2023, Incredible Hulk will see Johnson and Klein take Bruce Banner into a new era as he becomes hunted by brand new characters that terrify the iconic Marvel character. The series will dive further into Bruce Banner's relationship with the Hulk as the Green Goliath attempts to take control of Bruce's body once and for all. So we're kind of going back to basics, right? Whoa, some music's kicking off here. I think it's
Nice.
from the article. We're going back to basics here with the Hulk, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Bruce struggling, which is total reversal from what we've seen recently, where Bruce was kind of in control of the spaceship. Even Immortal Hulk, there was a moderate understanding. I guess he did have the different incarnations that kind of switched back and forth, but it's been a while since the Hulk has actually been in control. So it's interesting. Like you said, some first appearances of all new characters, which, and in number one, people really jump on that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Well, I have to see how I feel as it comes forward,
Yeah, I definitely am not a big fan of Hulk. I don't see myself picking it up, but our second character.
Wait, real quick, actually,
Go
this
ahead.
is I'm reading something else in this article that actually might be changing my opinion now. So,
Ooh.
um, so Johnson says the work that Al, Joe, and the rest did with Immortal Hulk was so impactful and spoke so clearly to me personally. It was impossible to come up with an idea that wasn't inspired by that. So that's pretty cool. Back at going off the Immortal Hulk, he goes on to say, "We're getting back to Stan Lee's Frankenstein / Jekyll and Hyde inspirations for the character, and giving readers a proper monster book in the best, truest Hulk tradition. If you loved Immortal Hulk, if you loved ghost stories, if you love Marvel monsters, if you loved old school Adventure of the Month storybooks from books like Marvel Team Up, and if you want the best, most timeless Hulk art you've ever seen, you do not want to miss this return of Incredible Hulk." So I'm actually a
Yeah.
little bit more intrigued now that I read more of that article.
Sounds a lot different, right?
Yeah, it's actually, I might check this out. I think I'm going to check it out. So
Yeah. Now it actually sounds better. And again, the Immortal Hulk series was amazing, right?
by far,
And
probably his best run, right?
yeah, absolutely. And then just bringing it back to the old school, that run by itself was a horror style, and then Stan Lee stuff, having the whole monster, because that really was what Hulk was all about. Was definitely
like the Jekyll Hyde aspect, which
exactly
is totally
so
correct, right?
I definitely think we'll see a lot better of a Hulk version than we have seen in this most current run. So
Yeah, right.
but let's kind of move over to our second character then. So we have Blade as well. So Blade's getting, I feel like Blade has gotten a nice little push, not so much because of the fact that obviously with the movie coming out, but I think, with Jason's Aaron run in Avengers kind of really made him more prominent role. I would say you've read this whole Avengers run. So
yeah, he was around for a while, but he kind of disappeared. He was in the middle of the run. It almost honestly, the whole vampire thing with them, with Dracula kind of given the Chernobyl area of Russia to become like a vampire nation. It felt like that was going to be more, and I don't know if Jason Aaron just decided, I'm not going to continue that story too much. There was a couple storylines during that Jason Aaron run that just felt like they were going to be bigger deals and didn't end up playing out that way. I felt like, and Blade's introduction on the team and then kind of just disappearing for that was sort of one of them. But yeah, Blade getting a new ongoing. Obviously, we have the Blade movie coming out. We all knew this was coming, right? We all knew Blade was going to be pushed as they do as the movies come out. But this time we have Brian. Yeah, right. Brian Hill and Elena Casagrande serving as the creative team. So Brian Hill, Justin and I both read the Batman and the Outsiders, is probably what he's most currently. That's definitely what I've read of his previously that I'm most familiar with. What about you?
Yeah, I would say pretty much that's all I know him really for.
Yeah. And that was a good run, right? That was a good team. I like the Duke Johnson, Katana, what's his not Static, right? Black Lightning.
Yeah, it was a good run. But like you said, they had obviously we currently have Bloodline. We have the daughter of Blade. So obviously with that going on, and then this coming out, according to the synopsis that it has on the article. So the story kicks off with Blade unwittingly unleashing a dark ancient power that's been dormant for centuries. Once it escapes the full might of Marvel's entire supernatural underworld demands that he either take care of it or he pays for his mistakes with a pound of flesh. So that means you're going to see a lot of existing characters popping out of the world of Blade. So
Yeah. And if you're reading Blade, what's Blood, a Bloodline Daughter of Blade right now, how long ago was that last issue? Was that this week that just came out, or 2 weeks
I
ago?
think it was last week or the week before.
I don't know
Definitely
if I
not
want
this
to
week.
spoil anything then. Well, fuck it. If it was last week, yeah. So there was I'll keep it. There is an introduction of a big Blade character in like the last pages of that book of the current issue, whichever was like I think it was number 3. So we're seeing a return of a major character in Blade's history. Blade works best in the supernatural. And look, like we said, dude, does it mirror the movies? Is it going to mirror that, setting up like the supernatural world and making Blade more of a part of that? So hopefully that's what we're going to see in the MCU. I mean, hell yeah, that'd be great, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. When was Eternals? Like 2 years ago, we
Oh my
got that
God.
teaser.
That's the beginning, phase 4, man.
Yeah, it was maybe during COVID. No, it wasn't during. It was like 2021.
Was it 21 or 22?
It
21,
was,
right? I
yeah,
think
it's
you're
been
right.
forever. Like
Wow. It
Eternals
feels
was
like
such
a
a
really
long
long
time
time ago.
ago, and you're
Yeah.
like, and they've just had so many issues with the Blade thing. But I guess it's finally getting on board. It's going to start kicking off this August that they're finally going to be filming it in Atlanta. So, but yeah, so again, if you're a Blade fan, this definitely sounds interesting. If you've been reading
I'll
the
be checking
Avengers
it out.
run, I definitely say give it an opportunity. It comes out in July. I'm sure they'll have a ton of covers and a lot more stuff going forward with it. So, thanks so much, Hard Knocks, for the question. Of course, just like that, people, if you've been listening, you know where you could hit us up. Just send us a message. Just send us an email. We'll drop it into our community section. So, before we get out of our community section, I'm going to blow up someone's spot, and I'm sure he's listening right now, and I don't care because I was expecting something better. I got a message from our buddy Newbie Comics, and he goes, "Hey, buddy," he goes, "So if I tell you something, don't say anything." I go, "Yeah." Basically, because you know what's going to happen. He's going to tell me, and I'm probably going to forget A, or B. It's like I'm expecting some juicy drama. So
Okay.
he tells me, he goes, I don't even care. He's going to hate me, but whatever. He goes, we are packing up a few things because the wife wants to move. We thought that we left Lola escape. Lola is his cat. And we have been outside for like an hour looking for her, only to find out she was sleeping downstairs in our gym. I go, that's the big news.
Who would you tell?
Right? Like
animal control?
That's exactly. So I go, that's the big news. He goes, didn't want anybody to think I don't care for my cat. LOL. Bad look on the newbie verse, man. But yeah, sorry if you were expecting nudity or something. LOL. I was like, I wanted drama, bro. You lose points for anticipation.
Dude.
Right?
First off,
Like
no one would know about your cat trauma if you didn't say anything. And second, that's what cats do, right? They go do their own thing. It's different than a dog.
yeah, I lose mine for a good hour or two. I literally need to check all the rooms. Who the hell knows sometimes where they are? Like, yeah, exactly. A dog's a lot different.
Right.
That's whatever. But yeah, so newbie comics is a terrible cat owner, so make sure you unfollow him everywhere.
Well, newbieverse just hates animals.
Jesus. Anyway,
Call
let's
PETA. Call PETA.
exactly, in Toronto.
Yeah. Right.
So let's get out of the community section and let's kind of get into some comic books, because we definitely will be talking about Mando season 3 before we end our show today. So let's kick it off with some comic book news. First and foremost, this is kind of just dropped today over at bleedingcool.com. So of course you all know that the What If season 2 is coming to Disney Plus at some point, and they always have the What If comic books. They've been going around since like the late or early 80s, I'd say. They started the What Ifs, if not early mid not 70s even. But they're doing some one shots this summer, and it sounds pretty interesting. So they're called What If Dark. So it's kind of like a darker version of some things that have happened in the What If series. So we have 3 different issues coming out. We have a What If Dark for Spider-Gwen, What If Dark for Loki, and then Venom. These are all coming out in, like I said, June, July, and August. Very interesting stuff. So Jerry Conway is coming back for the What If for Spider-Gwen. Basically, the synopsis is Spider legend Jerry Conway returns to his most famous spider story for this What if Gwen Stacy didn't die on the bridge that day, but Peter Parker did. Ooh. And it's got a cool cover. Greg Land did the cover, of course, where instead of Peter is holding Gwen. It's Gwen holding Peter in the suit. The second one that's going to be coming out, What If Dark Loki? Basically, it is done by Walt Simonson, of course, the great Walt Simonson. It's basically him returning to the Thor run, and it's basically what if Loki was in charge, a tale of one of Asgard's worst days and one of Loki's best. And then the what if Venom is up in the air, doesn't have a synopsis about it, but I'm thinking probably something along the lines of like Lethal Protector, or maybe he killed Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe.
That's my guess, but what are your thoughts on like these what ifs? Because they've done these, obviously they've done full runs over the years, and then they've come back and done like a few
Yeah.
one shots here and there.
They're cool. They're not really my thing. I mean, I can probably almost guarantee I won't pick these up. It's just they're not really my thing. But I don't dislike them. I just to each their
Not your
own.
thing. Yeah, it's
No,
fine.
yeah, it's not my thing.
I hear you.
I do
So
think
what was
it
the
is
last ones
cool.
they had? The most recent ones I can remember, they did the what if like Spider-Man was like the Punisher, right? Remember that?
Oh yeah.
What if Magic was Sorcerer Supreme, which was pretty cool because that's
Yeah.
kind of that was an interesting one. I can't think of the other ones that they did for those
I
that
can't
last
either.
series.
That
But
was like in 2017, I think, 2018, something like that.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely more recently. But yeah, it was only like 3 or 4 issues that they did, just like this. Like they're not numbered. It's just like a one shot, and it's like a one and done. But yeah,
I'd be
there's some
interested to
definitely some
see
good ones out there.
the Del Otto variant cover for the Dark Loki one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the
Right?
what if Gwen's gonna have a Rose Besh and a Virgin, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
excited to see the
Oh
Spider
yeah,
Gwen
yeah,
one
there
for
it is. Yeah.
sure.
Who I don't know if I know Rose Besh's work.
She's done some Harley stuff. She's done Star Wars Adventures exclusive variants. She's done a lot of like Frankie's or Comic Mint variants.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got a cool like color style, like color palette style. Really interesting stuff. So I mean, I met her actually at WonderCon last year before I got kicked out.
Okay.
Yeah, so just some cool stuff, some one shots going over again for Marvel. So what if Marvel Dark? Look forward to those over the summer. Next up, we have a really this is like 2 months old. I can't believe this is not on. I feel like no one's been talking about this, and I can't believe I just found out about it last week. And the only reason why I found out about this series was because some upcoming online retailers are doing exclusive variants for this. So this is actually coming over from IDW Publishing, and the article is 2 iconic crews square off for the ultimate bare knuckle battle in TMNT versus Street Fighter. Now, so TMNT has done crossovers with Batman. You got the Power Rangers. Now we're getting Street Fighter, and I am all in for this one.
Yeah.
I am definitely going to be picking this up. I mean, I've always picked up like the Street Fighter versus Darkstalker series when they've had them, but now that they're doing TMNT versus Street Fighter, I cannot wait for this. And I always like these crossovers. They always do very well for sales, and they always have really cool storylines. Like I've been talking about that, the TMNT Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Volume 2 more recently, obviously, and then all the Batman TMNTs were great.
Yeah, I read all those. Those are good.
But yeah, so it's coming out in May, so you still have time to pre-order it. And again, like I said, I just feel like it's kind of gone under the radar. Like no one, this article is actually from February, over on IDW's website. And as we know, you're a big Turtles guy. Right? You've been reading IDW Turtles. And then the Street Fighter stuff they're coming. They just actually today they just had a good old long preview for Street Fighter 6, which I cannot wait for Street Fighter. So perfect timing. Going to be 5 issues coming out, little mini series coming out in May. What are your thoughts? Do you think you're going to pick up this little crossover?
I don't know. Probably not. But I've never been like a big Street Fighter fan. Never been my thing. But I don't know. These are fun though. They are fun. I've enjoyed it. I read all the Batman ones. I didn't read the Power Rangers ones, but just I didn't really get around to it. I'll tell you what the format for this is, right? So here you go. I'm going to ruin it for everyone. They're going to start off fighting, right? And then the Street Fighter guys are going to end up fighting Krang or Shredder, and the Turtles are going to end up fighting M. Bison or God, who's some of the other villains? Vega.
That's who it would be. Well, that's who it would be. Like, Shadow
Okay.
Law. That's
right.
Like
so they'll fight the opposite villains like they do, and then they'll come together at the end. I mean, that's kind of the playbook, right? Like for the Batman and Ninja Turtle ones, it was the same.
And Mighty Morphin.
And Mighty Morphin, yeah. But it's fun, dude. I mean, it's a crossover of like two iconic properties that are fan favorites. Like, hey, I don't knock it, man. If you like it and that's your shit, do it, dude. Like,
Yeah. I'm
the
kind of
turtles are
excited
fun.
because, like, obviously, there's going to be tons of exclusive, retailer variants and stuff like
Right.
that. But the cover B is actually going to be done by Kevin Eastman, so I'm kind of intrigued to see what Kevin Eastman's like take on the Street Fighter characters is going to be.
I do like, and I'm not entirely sure. I might be wrong when I say this because, like I said, I didn't. I think the most recent one was the Power Rangers TMNT one, and I didn't
Yeah,
read it. But and you'll have to tell me if because I think you read it, right? Was Jenica
yeah.
in there? Because I see Jenica in this one.
No, she is not in this one because what happens is it's a continuation of Volume One, and she wasn't in Volume One.
Okay.
So yeah, you don't really get to see her
So that's
at
kind of
all.
cool. That's kind of cool. She's in this one.
Yeah, right on the cover.
Because she's been a badass character, man. I mean, say what you will. I don't know if many people out there are reading TMNT like I am, and she's a strong character. Like she's not just like extra. And I mean, that's tough, man. More name like a more iconic. Like, it's like, hey, the Fantastic Four, and we got one more person, and you're gonna try to like fit them in, right? Like,
Yeah,
um, she carries like great storylines, and she's a badass character. So I think that's cool.
yeah. One day I will start that from the
Ooh,
beginning and
so
read it.
good, so
Like,
good.
I believe me, if I could go to a shop and they would have all the hardcovers, like that one time that I was looking on eBay and the one guy had like,
Yeah, I already found that for you, bro.
I know one day I'll do it. So, um, but anyway, that's our IDWs talk. But we have one that kind of was like a leftover from last week because we had just had so much that we were chatting about that we didn't get to. You got that article, right?
Yeah, this is a pretty big deal, and honestly, I don't feel like that many people are really talking about it too much. But new comic book publisher sees creators as partners and stockholders. So we have a new comic book publishing team coming out called DSTLRY with no vowels. Just FYI, if you're ever trying to Google it or look it up. And it's coming from some really well-known articles. I mean, I'm not going to read the article necessarily for everyone, but it's very much the same reason Image was kind of formed, right? And like we
Mhm.
all know the big two, you write and you create and you do these great things. Let's say, for example, a la Al Ewing and Immortal Hulk or Donny Cates and Venom, like life-changing arcs for characters, which they have no rights for, right? And so it can be, very frustrating. I mean, here's a good one. The creators of Superman sold their rights to the Man of Steel for $130 in 1938, the year he debuted, not knowing the global recognition and longevity he would gain. So obviously things have changed with the Superman character, but they go on to say the main drive here is to create a more sustainable and equitable future for creators, said Chip Mosher, one of the co-founders of DSTLRY and chief creative officer. That's our macro goal, benefiting the creators and in turn benefiting readers and retailers. So we got a lot of big names. The initial comic book creators for DSTLRY are a murderer's row of talent. They include the writers Brian Azzarello, Scott Snyder, James Tinian, Ram V, the artist Mirka Andolfa, Elsa Charretier, Lee Garbet, Jock, and Jamie McElvey. The full list of founding creators can be found online as well. So, I mean, like we said, it's kind of like what Image was, right? Where you
Mhm.
had all these up and comers, they broke off and then they did that. And I'm for it. I mean, the more publishers, the better. And they ain't wrong about a murderer's row. I mean, this is very reminiscent of Image in the 90s, right? What do you think?
Oh, it's 100%. Like you said, the names on this is
Dude.
wild, right? And a lot of these writers have created great characters,
Hmm.
and they're their characters. Unfortunately, they're whether it's DC or Marvel, you don't take them with you, right? But
Right.
then you have some of these writers who've done their own projects. Like let's just say, obviously Scott Snyder did. He's done Witches. You got James Tynion, who's created so much with Boom and Image. So the fact that now the ability to create characters, you get a good stake in the company. I mean, it's pretty wild. Like there is a lot of great art. These
Hmm.
aren't just like nobodies or like C-list people. I mean, just like Jock, Becky Cloonan on there as well. Um, I mean, Joel Jones, like you said, Merca. Like, there's so many big people on here. So I definitely think this is going to be some interesting stuff. Like the fact that it's the former executives from Comixology, and
Yeah.
Comixology actually they just said it today that it's actually shutting down. So there's that. I know that was actually I saw
Yeah.
someone post about that. So
But in its
yeah.
time, it was groundbreaking.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
It was like before, ahead of its time, you know?
100%. But now it's a lot of people still like the print, but obviously
Mhm.
there's websites you could find that stuff. They have the Marvel.com. There's the DC Universe stuff. So you pay for these subscriptions, but yeah, man, I'm all for this. A new company to kind of rival the other ones is
Yeah.
definitely the way to go. And you start. It doesn't need to be again, and I doubt it's going to be superheroes. It's going to be all different types of writing. So
Yeah,
you know,
I think it's you should have seen this coming, right? Like, I mean,
mhm,
should be no surprise. Like, we saw Snyder doing the Dark Horse stuff where we have demons, right?
mhm.
He's been kind of doing his own thing over there. Tinian broke off a while ago as well and was doing the Substack thing, which I'm assuming Substack's kind of going away, which I'm really glad I didn't like buy into that. Tinian's like kind of
Yeah.
moving on from this, but like it was that idea, right? It really, you can see that this was kind of occurring and they were looking for some options here. But in terms of like the first book that's kind of been announced for them, which is, I thought this is pretty exciting, and Justin will like this as well, is the first comic from Distillery is The Devil's Cut, which will have self-contained stories by most of the founding creators. So I read that and I thought silver coin, right? Like right off
Yeah.
the top of my head.
Exactly.
And I'm excited, man. I hope like Snyder did the We Have Demons, and that was a comicsology thing, right? Wasn't that where it first debuted before it went in print?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of that stuff, a lot of those titles
Yeah.
were directly over there before they hit
And
hit
it
the
just
print.
doesn't work, man. Like you said, people, the comic book game, people still want the book, right? And Substack, same. Like people are like, I don't know, man, but do you got a book for my hands? Like that's what you want. So like they tried some things out and they realized it didn't work. Okay, yo, let's just do our own thing and put comics out. So good on them, man. I'll be buying the books based on the titles and the writers. So
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's definitely going to be a long-term thing. So look forward to seeing what Distillery's got. I'm sure they'll have some announcement probably at San Diego Comic-Con, if not by
yeah.
New York Comic-Con. They'll definitely be at the big shows with all these writers and artists. It's almost like waiting for like Hall H for like the
Right.
movies, right? Like
Right.
it's just like this big thing because it's huge names getting in that are in the industry that you're like, oh my god, like something's gonna change.
Hmm.
So this kind of, and now you kind of look at the flip side, like if all these people are going to be doing this, and obviously, yeah, they still continue some of their stuff at Image, Boom, Marvel, stuff like that, but you're still losing a lot of talent, right?
You know what?
Like,
I'm not worried about that though, because look, let's run back 10 years. Um, and I think my timeline might be decent on my analogy here. 10 years. I mean, did you know Scott Steiner before 10 years ago? Not really. He kind of showed up and he started writing on Batman. And even Tinian was a little bit after that. Like, I think this opens up possibilities. Now we'll get new writers who obviously Marvel and DC aren't going to be paying for these guys. So we'll get new writers to show up and kind of come in. And it's the same thing. You cut your teeth on these legacy characters, which everyone loves, and
mm,
you get in the zone, and then you can go kind of do your own thing. So I'm not too worried about it, man. I think the void will always be filled. I think there'll be writers up and coming who will jump in. I mean, Batman, Avengers, X-Men, Spider-Man. If you're in the comic book game and you don't know these characters and you can't just like pick up a book and start writing them, you're probably in the wrong career. Like, anyone can write those. That's right.
well,
That
yeah,
stuff.
I think anybody can write a lot of those characters, but it's also the artist as well. Like,
True.
me, like I'm a huge
Yeah.
art guy, so going into like Artist Alley, this really pushes some of these great artists out
Mhm.
of the way to pave the way for new characters, like
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
or
Yeah,
not new
there
characters,
could
but
be
like
a
new
bigger gap on
new
the art.
names in their books because
Yeah.
we've always seen okay, well, like Capullo does Batman all the time. We constantly
Yeah.
see that. We've seen it. Even Jock does an amazing Batman. So anytime he does Batman, it's like, all right, perfect.
Mhm. True. I mean, you'll probably still see them in the variant covers and whatnot, but maybe not in the interiors as much.
Oh yeah, hundred
We'll
percent.
see. We'll see what happens.
All right, so let's get out of our comic book section and kind of get into some movie and TV stuff for the evening, or this episode, as I should say. So, of course, if you did not know, they dropped a little bit of a nice teaser, which I think was interesting for King Kong. Well, actually, it's Godzilla, King Kong, the New Empire. So, this little teaser kind of showed off a couple days ago. A little dark turn for the Kaiju King over at the article at CBR.com. So, now the trailer is only about 45 seconds, doesn't really show you too much, but of course, it is going to be a sequel in this whole monster verse that's been going on since we've had the original
Mhm.
King Kong, we had the Skull Island, we had Godzilla, then we had King of Monsters. Like I love that they're still kicking it with this MonsterVerse
Yeah,
stuff, right?
hell yeah.
So not much is shown. It just kind of does look like a little darker stuff. I'm sure they're going to be, putting themselves together. But in the teaser trailer, you do see this almost what looks as like a rival Kong in the background, amongst all these corpses of all different Titans. And of course, then you see the skulls of Godzilla and King Kong. So again, it's a short little teaser. Really interesting to know who this Titan is. Is it going to be, somebody who is like Kong, like a gorilla, or is it going to be something other type of creature that we just don't know too much about? But I'm interested. I'm definitely intrigued about it. It's coming out in 2024. What do you think about it, man?
Yeah, I liked it too, man. You always wonder the monster verse or whatever it was called was always building towards Godzilla versus Kong, right? And then they come
Mhm.
out with it and it's like where do you go from here? But they're fun. I've enjoyed all those movies for what they were. By no means do I think they're great and they're winning awards and whatnot, but I love them. I mean, they're so much fun. So I'd love to see a movie where Kong and Godzilla kind of team up and there's someone else. The only thing about these movies that ever like worries me is like how they try to figure out like a human storyline. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, of
it's
course.
always like the weirdest, like, oh, okay. Now we gotta figure out how the humans are gonna act. And that's usually like the weakest part. And it's just like, dude, give me just like an hour and a half of no humans and just Kong and Godzilla tearing shit up. You don't even have to have dialogue, bro. Just run it. You know what I mean?
Oh, of
Like,
course. Yeah. There's
so
there's not much that needs to be like I feel like at this point like Millie Brown, right? That's her
mhm.
name. Miley
Yeah,
Brown, whatever her name is.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Dude, is she really going to come back for this? Like she's been in the past two ones. She had a like why did we really need them, the humans in the last story? At least obviously knowing, as you said earlier with the whole Street Fighter TMNT crossover, at least in this one we already have a teaser. We know obviously that they're going to be teaming up against somebody else, right?
Right.
That's already shown in the trailer. So it's not like here's round 2 of Godzilla versus
They
Kong.
fight and team up, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and then they're going to fight each other and then they're teaming up against somebody else. We already know that. We can already tell from the trailer that that's going
mhm.
to happen. So it's going to be interesting for definitely. They definitely talk about it as a darker path. And obviously we've seen so much, right? At the end of that last movie when they go to like the center of the earth.
Yeah, I want to see more of that.
Yeah, that's
I
where
hope
I'm
that's where it
hoping.
happens. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why we don't really need too much of the human world
right.
unless this thing is going out there and killing all the different titans that are
Mhm.
still kind of maybe roaming the earth because that was something.
Yeah, wasn't that how it kind of ended too? Was like they also went to whatever that was called, the interior, the center of the earth, and they were building like uh laboratories or whatever,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
research facilities down there too, and Kong was still protecting it. And
Yeah, that was
so
exactly because that's
yeah,
what they had across the world. They had all different sites.
right,
I can't think
right.
of what the name of that is.
Yeah.
Off the tip of my tongue, like whatever, like
And Godzilla was still like swimming around or some shit.
yeah.
um nah, man, it'll be fun. When's it? March 15th, 2024. Okay, so
Yeah, it's
still some
it's
time.
definitely gonna be a while,
Yeah,
but I mean I've always been a big fan of the Godzilla movies growing
right.
up, so I definitely think just a continuation, everything kind of falls back, and maybe you'll see somebody from one of the older movies come back, obviously, it depends
Haven't
on
seen
the
Mothra
time.
in a while, have we? So
Well, yeah, like Mothra was in King of Monsters dies, but they always could come back with her.
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Get ready for 2024 in the next movie for Godzilla King Kong. So, that's it on the TV talk. Let's kind of get into the Mando verse. So, Mando season 3 just ended this week. So if you have not seen the last episode, which I'm sure everybody has if you've been watching it, go ahead and skip over this section. Listen to, of course, our final talks of what we always talk about for comic books, but we're going to get right into some Mando season 3. So, of course, Mando, a lot of people hating on this season,
Yeah.
and I get it. Like, it's always been the same thing with every episode. It's kind of the video game, right? The video game world. Like, there's a challenge, you got to complete it, you got to get to the next thing, right? Like that's always how these episodes have been. This has definitely been another season of 8 episodes. That's kind of what they've always stuck with. But for me, I don't think the season was the worst. I don't think it was the best. But for me, I liked it for the simple reason is they really explored and expanded on Bo-Katan. Obviously, I'm a
Mhm.
huge Bo-Katan character fan. I think it was more self-contained. Like there really wasn't, knowing in that first season where there wasn't too much of a, reveal. Like it was really setting up all the different characters, right? You know, Cara Dune, Moff Gideon. But then that second season where we felt like every episode almost had to be like a cameo of somebody. Like,
Right.
wow, we're gonna see like Bo-Katan, and then like 2 episodes later, we're getting Ahsoka, and then we're getting new characters like almost every other episode. Um, but now, we have this third season, which has been a lot more Mandalorians, right?
Mhm.
I mean, we've been seeing some crazy Mandalorians in this one, a lot of fights. They go back to Mandalore, something that we've kind of only really seen a little bit in Rebels and Clone Wars. But for me, man, I thought the season was good. I think this season finale was I think it was a little weak because of this, I think because of the runtime. 38 minutes for like a season finale, and then you have some of these other episodes that are like almost 50, 55 minutes. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. What are your thoughts, man?
I mean, like, I'm probably going to disagree with everyone. Like, I loved it. This might have been
Mhm,
my favorite season out of all of them. I mean, season 2 was really good, because of mainly because of the Ahsoka and the Luke stuff and all that was really great. But look, man, the show is called Mandalorian. Like, at some point, we have to explore the Mandalorians, right? I
mhm.
mean, so I liked the fact that it was so Mandalorian centric. I mean, we got the dark saber 2 seasons ago now, and we're finally getting to the point of like, okay, well, what's so important about it, right? And then this guy's part of a culture and everything, but we're never going to talk about the culture, and the fans are all like pissed off because all we're doing is talking about the culture. Like, what the hell are you talking about, man? Like, this is what we want. I thought it was great. I honestly I didn't until you said it right now. I never felt like every episode was like a video game. I thought the whole story was building the way it was supposed to be built. Like, okay, he's now got Grogu. It's him and Grogu. He's trying to get his, join the clan again. And then now it's Bo Katan. Let's get Mandalore back. Let's bring the clans together. And in the way, yeah, of course, he's helping out his friends, helping out Grief and all these other people. He's interacting with the New Republic. Um, I loved it, dude. I thought it was
Mhm.
awesome. I thought I thought about it more that how much I liked some of the aspects, like, okay, like the dark saber being just destroyed. A lot of people are like, "What? That sucks." No, good, man. Like, let's not just keep having this stupid thing hanging over like it's this so important thing. Plus, the
But it
other
is.
really
It's so old. That's what's I mean,
well,
we've talked about this offline. It was
yeah,
something that Dave created in the Clone Wars, and something that we've seen, and really got history about it in really more so in Rebels, I
right.
think. But it's just something that's so cool. Like
Well,
the
Dave
idea that a
created it. He can
Mandalorian
destroy it.
was the first was a Jedi and created it instead of
Yeah,
having its own lightsaber. Like they had that thing and it was called the dark saber. Like
it's
that's just
cool.
awesome. Like I really want to see something even in High Republic. Like I really want to see a Mandalorian why don't they have that in High Republic? Like a
That'd be
Mandalorian.
awesome. Yeah. I think what's tricky to me is always the timeline, right? Like, so things like the dark saber being destroyed is that very much like, cool, that saves the timeline, because as you get into the sequel trilogy, like, well, where the hell is the dark saber, and like, where the
Mhm.
hell are the Mandalorians? They've taken back Mandalore, no one's talking about this. That's always a little touchy to me, like, oh, okay, is it a secret? Does anyone know Mandalorians are out there still? Because we don't know about that. So that to me has always been kind of, oh, dodgy. But I did read an article about something Filoni said, very much where it was either Filoni or Favreau, and they said
Mhm.
like, yeah, when it started, Din Djarin was the main character. He's no longer the main character.
Yep.
There's multiple main characters. And I think that's true, man. I mean, like, what do you want? Just like, how much story can you get about this one guy with this Yoda dude running around? Like, I mean, we got to have more. It was good, but I've loved that it's growing, and I want to I want to troll all the people out there who like talked shit about this season, and then all you assholes were on social media like, "Oh, the spy is going to be Axe Wolves. Oh, the spy is going to be the armor." Boy, you were wrong. Like, all you guys did was try to guess the ending, and you were wrong. And you ain't admitting it. You all posted all your stuff for like a week, like, "Oh, I just know the armor is the spy. I changed the audio and I pulled her voice out of the meeting with Moff Gideon." No, you didn't, because that's not what happened. And
Mm.
so you didn't solve anything. I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm glad they didn't fall in that trope of like, there's a traitor in the midst. I'm glad Gideon's gone. Like, cool, man. He looked
Okay, so
awesome too.
let's talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think that Gideon's gone? Like showing all the clones at that last episode. Do you think that the one they
Okay.
killed was a clone?
Mm.
You want to go down that theory?
So,
Because
yeah, I didn't think about the clones. The clones, I think he's gone. And honestly, I lean more towards he's gone completely because I think, like, we know what we saw in Star Wars Celebration that there's going to be a movie tying all the shows together. I think we're going to move on as Gideon is not the villain. We're moving on to Thrawn. So I think you kind of have to get rid of Gideon because if
I
you
agree.
don't, he's going to step. Where's he at with Thrawn? And he clearly had no respect for Thrawn in that meeting, right? So,
Yeah. But
yeah, I
here's
think
the
he's
thing,
gone.
like it's tough because it's like really that's how you're gonna I don't know. I don't know if that was like the way to go out. Like I feel like it was a good battle, but I
Mhm.
feel like he could have gone out. I mean, he went out like a boss, don't get me wrong.
Right.
You know, he got killed by like a star cruiser and in flames, and Grogu saved the other two, which was cool. But
Horrible strategy by Axe Wolves, by the way.
it's
Horrible
yeah, well,
strategy. Let me just crash this right on a planet in the exact zone where everyone's hanging out. Like,
yeah.
horrible
But
idea.
it's just so weird because like when like he knows like Moff Gideon knew where they were in the cell, right? You saw
Mhm.
him, the little red dot, like they
Right.
showed, oh well, this is where the Din and Grogu are, and it was just very odd that he's like, oh, I'm gonna go get them, but then like they still come through that door and they're back in that place where the map room is, and all it is like one room over, and that's where he shows up. It just
Yeah, I
it
don't
was a
know.
little odd to me. Like I felt like he left and then got like a clone, or he was a clone the entire time
Maybe.
and he's
He was
still out
pissed
there.
about the
But
clones, though.
yeah, he was. So I mean, it
Yeah.
is. I
Yeah.
think to be a Star Wars character and a villain, like yes, like you said, you need to go out. You need to end this season. You know, he was. You thought you got him in season one, you didn't, right?
Mhm.
Season two, you didn't see him at all because he was trapped up. This season, they've been building with this hidden empire stuff and the Shadow Council, and yes, he needs to be gone by the because and they hadn't even announced. They didn't even do anything. You know, like at the end of like um season two of Mandalorian, they were like Boba Fett. You know, they had the after credit scenes. He'll be
Right.
back in like the book of Boba Fett. I think even at the end of Boba Fett, the book of Boba Fett, they said he would be returning for a season two. Like he will
Boba
return. I
Fett will
can't remember
return or something like that.
something
Yeah.
like right.
Can't
I mean,
remember.
I was expecting him to come back and
But you did
help
have the
out.
post credits. You had what's his name show up. The one dude was oh man,
Oh yeah,
the
like
sheriff, the
Cad.
marshal.
Yeah, exactly. This they
So
didn't have anything.
yeah.
And they really didn't announce anything from Star Wars Celebration is, oh, like we're doing this season four. But obviously, what Favreau and Filoni said, like they have tons of stories. Like he doesn't
Mhm.
really have an ending for him. So I'm sure maybe at D23 this year, they'll announce like, you know, but they have a lot on their plate right now. And
Yeah.
I think the fact that they didn't announce anything and they don't announce anything is a good thing because with all the news that came out of Star Wars Celebration, and we all know what's been going on with Marvel is how they're just putting out too much and the quality has gone down. You know, a lot of people thought about that like Book of Boba Fett, like the quality
Mhm.
wasn't there, right? So with Ahsoka, you have the Acolytes, you have Skeleton
Skeleton Crew.
Crew,
Yeah.
like there's a lot going on in the universe. So I think it's okay to like take a year off.
Yeah. I think they're giving him breathing room too in terms of like, well, look, man, we got to flesh out these other stories. You all know this movie's coming, and they have an idea of where the story's going to go, right? And so Amando season 4 might be ahead of where they're planning on going in this wrap up movie. So
Mhm.
he needs some breathing room. That's why I also was fine with him kind of being on like the cabin with Grogu and like chilling out and
I just
yeah,
hope he doesn't show up in like Ahsoka and it's like season 4 of Mando, like how Book
oh,
of
like
Boba Fett
Boba
was, where he
was.
literally took over 2 episodes
Yeah.
of Book of Boba Fett. Like, I get it, like he's like the star of this Disney Plus
But it's
universe.
tricky because if you bring him in, he overshadows. So I think that's also I think that might be part of the reason why they haven't announced anything. Is like let's let our other properties breathe a little bit
Mhm.
without the shadow of the Mando. So
Yeah.
I loved it,
Maybe
man.
Ahsoka will be there. Who knows?
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I don't know why everyone was so upset about it. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing.
Overall, I think like yeah, I think it was definitely a good season. I'm excited to watch it now without having to worry about like spoilers. I could sit back and just kind
Yeah,
of watch it almost like because it's tough. You watch the one episode and that's kind of like the only time you watch it, right? It's like 30,
right.
40, 45 minutes, whatever, and then you watch it. But at least then now you go back and you could sit and watch like 2 or 3 episodes in one night and almost it feel like a movie, right? because you can watch all in a row where you don't need to stop it because all right, well now it's over, right? It kind of sets up things for like the future, like the next day I can watch. All right, well now there's this story arc going on.
Yeah.
But again, I'm a huge fan of Bo-Katan and the Mandos, so
same, dude. It was so good. And I love the IG-11 stuff. Like that was cool. I thought how they rounded everything out was really cool. I liked how with what happens with Grogu and being adopted and all that. Like it was cute, man. It was heartwarming, and then the Mandalorians all back on their homeland. Like hell yeah, dude. Like you could give me a season of the Mandalorians with no Din Djarin and I would watch it happily and love it. Like I want to know, where does Bo-Katan go from here? What do the Mandalorians do from here? Like they've been isolated and solo bounty hunters for the most part for so long. Like how do they reform their community? Like I would love to see that.
Yeah, well, they're on they're on Navarro, so I'm sure
are they though anymore? They're all now. I'm assuming they're all.
That's where they went. Yeah, that's kind of where they went. That's where he gave them like a whole big plot of land. Like
yeah, but I figured they're gone from there now and back on Mandalore.
No, I think that's where they're going to stay for a while, because I mean, eventually I think they'll go back to Mandalore, but I think at least they have like a home because obviously they've been always like in secret on different worlds.
I guess so. I mean, I guess I just thought they relit that forge. They better stay there. We got some work to do to get that city.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. It's a little bit of both, maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? A little bit everywhere. Roman.
But yeah, so I guess the next big thing will be Ahsoka. I mean, I know we're gonna get Star Wars Visions before that, but I know that'll be the next big thing is Ahsoka. So I'm
not very excited for Ahsoka.
Not at all. Why? Ahsoka Tano, Sabine Wren.
Honestly, I'm scared about how excited I am for Ahsoka. Like, can it live up to it? You know what I mean? Like, you're just.
I'm gonna kill myself.
I'm gonna kill myself. This sucks.
It's gonna be so bad, and I'm just gonna take my 9/8 and throw them on the street.
You convert to a Star Trek fan for life.
This has been the worst series ever. But it's, I don't know. The only thing that I was specking on was that we would see Fen Rao, who was in Star Wars Rebels. I was kind of hoping he would show up as a Mandalorian, and when they went back that one time when they went back to Mandalore, and there's those three guys.
Yeah,
I was
been saying there
with Silky Pete or what is it? Sneaky Pete, whatever.
Silky Pete. Damn it, dude! I had it. Oh, you messed me up because you said that.
Isn't it Sneaky Pete?
Skinny Pete.
Skinny Pete, right? I was hoping that one of them would have been Fen Rao.
It was like a Breaking Bad reunion with him and Gus Fring.
Everybody's on that. Yeah. But yeah, that's the one thing that I was specking on. Luckily, I didn't spec too hard. Like I already had copies. Maybe he'll show up as a Mandalorian in Ahsoka, or who knows? But yeah, nothing crazy in this final episode. No, reveals like we had in season 2. Like that was the reveal in season 2. Like I said, season 2 had so much going on that I feel like that's like just to kind of finish as well. Like you said, like it just needed to be the season. Like they didn't need to do any cameos, first appearances type of thing. Like just on the storyline. Like
not everything needs to have a post-credit scene, not everything needs to set something up.
I turned it right off. I didn't even look. Like I didn't even care to like go through, and like that's what I was doing like with every Marvel show, right?
Yeah.
You're always waiting for something, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
Let a story organically wrap itself up. There's nothing wrong with that, man.
Yeah.
God damn.
No. But all right, so that's our Star Wars Mandalorian season 3 talk. Let's kind of finish out the show with what are we currently reading, like we always talk about, comic books. I had so much to read since, like I said, if you heard last week's episode, I didn't do any reading because I just came back from vacation. So I'm going to kind of kick this one off because I have a lot to talk about. So kind of, I'm going to start off with some hot garbage. Hot garbage from last week. The Ewoks one-shot was terrible.
Yeah, it was. But you know what I loved about it?
No, don't say you loved any part of that.
I didn't have to read anything. I just burned through the pages, and I was like, "Oh, next book."
Yeah, they didn't have a writer, right? They just had an artist for that. I mean, it's crazy because like there's that 1 in 100 virgin variant that's like pretty expensive, and I feel like that's probably like the worst variant because like the interior has nothing going on. Like there's no story. Like yeah, there's story, but you could at least have them say something. Like they still make sounds, right? You know,
Yeah, I
they
don't
had that
understand
one.
why. Yeah.
There was like that. They took like the head of like an ATST and made it a rocket ship. Like it was so stupid.
Why can't you do even with like the Wookiees? Like they're talking to each other.
Hmm.
So like, okay, let's say you read a comic about like samurais in Japan or something like that,
Hmm.
right? And then they put it italicized, like,
Yep.
hey, we're speaking Japanese, but we've translated it here. Like, why couldn't you do that? Why can't you do that with the Wookiees and the Ewoks? Like, so we know what the hell they're saying.
So yeah, hot garbage was definitely the Ewok. Um, Not hot. This is like semi-hot garbage. And actually, no, I'm gonna call it lukewarm garbage
Okay.
because the series was great, and then 8 Billion Genies #8 was just ugh. Like I was not a fan of this final issue. Like to finish off the series, like
Yeah.
not good at all. Like didn't I get it. Like it's characters that were there in like the first issue, and it's gone so long, like hundreds and thousands of years in the future. But it was just I don't know. I was expecting more really from this 8 issue series. So
Hmm.
maybe just because Soul's so busy with Star Wars stuff, I guess, you know. But so that's out of the garbage into some good stuff. So of course this week, Hunt Kill Repeat #2. You
I
read
haven't
it?
read it. I haven't read it yet.
Ooh.
It didn't come. My shop didn't get it this week. I
Oh,
probably
okay.
won't get it till
Of
next
course,
week.
dude, Man Cave, like your shop's not getting that, right?
Yeah.
You got to order that separately. But not gonna really talk too much about it. Obviously, Zach and I talked about it the past couple weeks, but it's totally getting into the whole Kill Bill thing. This issue,
Oh, nice.
like it's really now the gods and the goddesses are coming for her. That's all I'm gonna say. So
Sweet.
definitely check it out, people. Hunt Kill Repeat issue #2 from Mad Cave. Another series that another two series I've been talking about. Superman, New Dawn of DC. Superman #3 just came out. Again, continuing this whole uh, partnership between him and Lex. Lex is still in prison, and he kind of helps him escape. The last issue had Parasite taking over the entire metropolis. You had a lot of the I wouldn't call them super kids, but super partners like Supergirl and Superboy and John Kent in there helping out. But this is kind of finished out the story arc, and now we're going to see a continuation of what next super villain from the Superman universe is actually going to get some better powers. But I'm liking it. Like I said, the Jamal Campbell art is some of my favorite stuff out there from DC. You know, of course, doing Naomi. Next up is Red Goblins. Again, Red Goblins still another definitely on my love list for Marvel. Definitely not a series I would have thought I'd be picking up on a monthly basis, but I love the whole Norman Osborn and Normie stuff. I mean, this issue you really got a lot more background of Rascal, who's Normie's little Red Carnage guy, right? Red Goblin, whatever you want to call it. And then last but not least, sticking with some spider stuff was that Spider Verse, Marvel Voices Spider Verse. I don't know if
Okay.
you saw that.
Nah.
Um,
Oh, I saw it, but yeah, I didn't. I didn't read
it's
it.
definitely got some highs and lows. Of course, when they come out with these Marvel Voices, it's always 5 to 7 different stories in there, all different characters. I mean, I'm not going to kind of go into every one, but just kind of some highs and some lows. So there's 2 Miles ones. They're okay. There's one with Weaver, of course, who we know is a newer character from the Edge of Spider-Verse. Another okay one. There's one with this new character called Spider Friend. Again, why do you just that's what it is. They're just continuously creating new characters. There's one with Spider Punk, which is actually pretty cool. It's got Spider Punk and his band, and they fight the Sinister Six piece because it's
Okay.
like a band. So it's
Oh,
like
gotcha.
so they
Gotcha.
each
Yeah.
have like instruments, but obviously they end up really fighting. And if you read the Spider Punk series, like there's a Captain America, there's like a different Captain America in there. There's a Riri Williams, Kamala Khan's in there, so that's like his superhero group. Silk, not Silk. Spider Gwen had a storyline, kind of stupid. I would say that's on actually the low end. Same thing with the Spider Friend. But the one storyline that really was awesome was Silk. So this whole story arc is actually done through her eyes. So you actually see everything like in first person.
Hmm.
And like it's almost got that almost like if you know photography, like that fisheye look where
Yeah.
like the edges are kind of cornered. So if same thing like your eyes. So you're literally seeing everything. Like sometimes you'll see her hands and she'll be fighting people. So really interesting. It goes into this whole thing of how like she's exhausted from doing everything. like fighting and having like a life, and time just is skipping, and then eventually she's having therapy because you know her from like for originally how she was found, right? Like in a room, right? In like a
Yeah.
control room, like she was so scared to come out, like way back
Right.
when she was introduced. So it ends up being by the end of the issue, she finally, just kind of turns off her phone, get away from the world, and it's just such a cool like Zen moment. And if you read it, you'll just see this really awesome like one panel thing of her like in this awesome Zen position. I don't really want to give it away; it's just really cool. But definitely check it out. I thought it was a good little one shot with all these Marvel Spider voices, and I know you're a big Spider-Man fan there, Zach. So I'm
Huge,
surprised you didn't pick it up.
huge Spider-Man fan.
Yeah, kidding, of course. For the people out there that don't know that. What are you currently reading, my friend?
I had 2 picks of the week that were really great. The Punisher number 11. Man, first off, maybe I wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize, but that it's going to end at issue 12, which we talk about all the time, right? The perfect arc, right?
Yeah.
But it has felt more than 12 issues because we've had a bunch of cool one shot for the Punisher War Journals. And we also had Punishers played such a heavy role in Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil as well. So it's like you have the 12 issues by Jason Aaron, but you've had more Punisher. It was awesome, man. The things that happen, I don't want to spoil this at all. The ending is great. One more issue. I can't wait to see where it goes from here. Really, really great. Really loved it. And then I think my other pick of the week, man, great book that I got this week is World Tree. World Tree came out from what's it? It's Boom, right?
Yeah.
No, Image.
Image. Yeah. I'm thinking of something else.
Image, and it's James Tinian. Really interesting. I don't even necessarily know how to explain it. Takes place in the future. There's some internet issues going on, or like some like I don't know how to explain it, man. It's creepy.
Mhm.
It's kind of horror. It's adult. Definitely, if you're letting your kids read this, I probably wouldn't let them read it. There's blood, murder, nudity. Probably not like something you should be letting younger generations read, but awesome story. The covers that have come out for this thing, I mean, are great. I mean, from even the basic issues, what did I get? I got the cover A, and I got the Jenny Frizz on, which that was for you.
Yeah,
I did
nice.
that for you. And then obviously our friends at Bird City Comics have amazing variant for that. They had just the one, or did they have 2? I can't actually remember.
They just had the one. Yeah, from Anna.
Yes,
Massaro.
so good, man. So good.
Mhm.
So, and I know there's some other really good ones out there as well. So, I don't know. Besides the covers and everything like that, I would definitely check this book out. Really enjoyed it. I think it's got a cool. I know what I wanted to say about this book. You know what it feels like? So, without giving anything away, obviously, like there's some murders that happen, and it's based on like this, like kind of, let's just call it like a dark web, underweb. I think they call it the undernet, something like that. And then halfway through the book, you get introduced to like this group of people, maybe who they hint at maybe they were the ones who created it, and then they put it on lockdown. They're like, oh no, they saw that bad things were going to happen, and they prevented it from happening. Fast forward to like our present day, and they're like one of the main guys, the leader, so to speak, is like bringing the band back together, right? Oh, it's loose again. We have to go stop it, or we have to try to prevent it. But for me, and for anyone else who's read like It by Stephen King, it felt just like it. It felt like they even said things that made me, it was like, we defeated it as kids or when we were younger, and now we got to come back and fight it like as adults kind of type situation.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, anyone who knows and have heard me talk, it is my favorite book of all time. I love all iterations of it. I love it. And when I was reading that part, and I was like, dang, he's getting like the band back. It's like when the Losers Club reconvenes as adults to fight Pennywise again. So that was, I don't know if that was what his intention was, but it really hit me. So I like that book. I'm really excited to keep reading World Tree. And if you're searching for it and you haven't heard about it, it's World Tree with the TR33. Yeah.
And the O is like it's not an O, it's a 0, right?
It's a 0. Yeah. I'm looking at the cover, and I was like bopping away to look at the cover. Yeah. So I'm sure if you search it the way it's spelled, you'll probably find it as well.
Yeah.
Image.
I mean, if you
Comics.
just you typed in World Tree and James Tenney,
Right.
you'd find it. It'll auto correct for you.
Yeah. So
cool. Yeah,
awesome
I'm
book.
surprised I didn't grab that this week. There was so many other books. Like
I was going to ask you, maybe you know about this. I think I read somewhere. I saw people saying that there was some issues with it where it actually got like there were some error prints, and I thought
the
maybe it was
front
going to
cover is like super dark. It is like on the front cover, the main, like the bottom, you can't really see the character behind
this one.
Yeah. Basically, there's that body that's on the bottom. You really can't.
I can barely see that.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
I can see like a phone kind of.
Yeah, it's like a printing error. It was supposed to be a little lighter, so I think they're reprinting it or something. Yeah,
so it's worth. So what you're saying is worth like $300, dude.
Nah, maybe like $3K, not 300, but I'd go.
Oh hell, even better. I'll sell it for $2K right now. Anyone who reaches out.
There you go. Because we got that error print that everybody else has.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's some good stuff. Yeah, I gotta pick it up. I definitely want to read it. It was definitely on my list, but too much stuff for 2 weeks. So
yeah,
can't afford everything. But yeah, good stuff. Nothing from me this week. Actually, if you're listening to this early enough, Sunday there's a Brooklyn Comic-Con. If you're in the Brooklyn, New York area, so I will be there hanging out with our friend Sade Page and hitting up some shops over there in the Brooklyn area. So that's what I got for this weekend. Anything for you before next week's?
No, dude. Every weekend right now is just preparing for baby.
Nice. Well, and of course, as you know, we've been teasing it every week. We'll be dropping an exclusive variant. Hopefully, like I said, it's Star Wars related. It will be dropping probably most likely on my Whatnot initially on May the 4th, because I have a Whatnot show on May the 4th. So make sure you bookmark that show. We'll definitely be teasing it out that week with some art, and you'll be seeing it. So I'm super excited for it. I was talking with our collaborator last night on the phone for a good 45 minutes about it. So yeah, be ready for that when that drops. So that's it, everybody. Season 3, episode 16. Catch y'all next week.
Later.